Okay, thank you. And thank you, Gracia, for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. My name is Yingxue Ren from TianGong University, and I'm going to share our recent publication on food control named Factors Influencing Chinese Farmers' Proper Pesticide Application in Agriculture Product. It's basically a review. And this is a collaboration work between TianGong University and Wageningen University from Netherlands. And this is my outline. Before we say something critical on pesticide, here is a question. Why we use pesticide from the first place? Because it saves our crops, right? Over 33% of worldwide agriculture products are saved because of pesticide. However, they cause damages. Pesticide residue, that's one of the most. And in Europe, over 2,000 food safety alert notifications were concerned about pesticide residue between 2015 to 2020. And that's only regarding fruit and vegetables. So there could be more. As one of the biggest producer and user of pesticide, China, we also face the similar problem. Pesticide contamination in food, that's one of the main causes of food safety incidents in China. And many cases of export rejection are because of pesticide residue. And according to previous studies, the possible causes of the overuse or abuse of pesticide could be pesticide control, could be pest control, could be financial reasons, etc. Our research, we aim to get a comprehensive understanding of what factors influence appropriate pesticide application of farmers in China. So first things first, we need to demarcation our research. So we focus on fruits and vegetables because they are more vulnerable and requires pest control. And then we focus on chemical pesticide, which is the most common pesticide in China amongst all types. And after that, we need to build a framework as our lens, our glasses, which help us to clarify the mass. And in our case, there is a combined model between theory of plant behavior model and the techno-managerial models. The theory of plant behavior model, also known as TPB for short, this model explains that a person's intention to conduct a behavior is the outcome of attitude towards behavior, the social norms, and the perceived behavior control. And once the intention combined with the perception with behavior control leads to actual behavior in the end. So since our study focused on the farmer's application, as farmers is the most likely person to actually apply the pesticide. So the TPB model seems like a suitable model that can give us a deeper insight of factors contributed to their intentions and the behavior. And in this research, the behavior can be understood as proper pesticide application, like using legal pesticide with safe dose. And intention could be understood as non-compliance of proper pesticide application. However, farmers' behavior is not only the outcome of their intention, but also affected by the external environment, like how the government regulate them, how the external support them, how the stakeholder require them, and other technological factors. And to support a more comprehensive analysis, the techno-managerial approach is combined to the TPB model. And this model involves the integration analysis to food quality management issues from both technological perspective and managerial perspectives. And this approach intends to explain how these behavior are influenced from both sides. And next one, we choose our battlefield. This is the stages of primary production. And when we think about pesticide application, and that is our focus. Now we got our lens, we got our target. It's time to dive into literature. We designed a literature review strategy to collect our studies, and which is described in these 2 pages. Long story short, after 4 round selections, we yield out 45 articles, and then we go through literatures to find out what factors are there and how they influence farmers' behavior, regarding like pesticide application, pesticide use, and we categorize them into different parts of our framework, and we got this. So first, as we assumed, the pesticide application is the result of the interaction between multiple actors, like the farmers, of course, but also the input suppliers, the government, the cooperative, and the neighbors, public, all of them, they're all involved. That's exactly the definition of complex systems, which requires a system approach to analyze, like our framework. And one example from our result regarding the literature found out most of the articles demonstrate that farmers experience positively linked to their knowledges, since knowledgeable farmers are more likely to conduct pesticide application properly. And similarly, education level explain the same things. And another example from the TPP elements is that farmer concern on crop yield as one of the main reasons for overuse pesticide. And some articles also suggest that farmer may reduce pesticide use when they are worried about their own health situation or believe that helped increase product quality. And subjective norm like pressures from the surrounding peoples, from neighbors, from public are found contributed to regulate farmers' intention to comply with proper behavior, while perceived behavior control showed relatively fewer efforts. And another example from the techno-managerial model elements, results shows that the important role of the government support and external service support. Many articles supported that strictly regulation enforcement contributed to more correct use of pesticide, and having access to support and training provided by external service support farmer to obtain more information and therefore comply with the proper use of pesticide. But however, unfortunately, literature about the technology condition are quite limited. Considering the complexity of pesticide application as we illustrate here, we are convinced that it's not an easy way to improve farmers' behavior overnight. So a stepwise approach may be helpful to achieve the final goal through smaller efforts, which are more feasible. So we came up with the idea that the proper stepwise intervention that farmers cannot change all of their circumstances at the same time. So maybe the investment in training, in equipment, and all those costly, time-consuming efforts can be made step by step. That's more relaxing. And the proposed intervention for each stage could be further differentiated because of their concern with different actors, like I mentioned before, farmers, suppliers, and the government, extension service. They are all part of this. They all take steps to go further from the intermediate stage to eventually advanced stages. So each contributes differently to the problem of high pesticide residue, and each can be employed differently intervention to mitigate the problem. And that will be our recent studies. Any questions?
Excellent, thank you very much. And if you could just go back to the slide before, because I think that's a great slide just to end on, actually, because that to me is really interesting, these stepwise interventions, and I think yeah, no, it's very, very good. A couple of questions that are coming through. One is how important, I guess, did you find in the literature was the educational level and experience and knowledge of the farmer to their use of pesticides?
Well, that's quite complex and really good questions. Thank you. Because when we go through the literature regarding the experience of farmer itself or their families, if they have some experience about pesticide poison themselves or something they're very close to, like neighbors, families, they will pay attention to the proper pesticide application. That's one part. And the other part is if they experience that we overuse or abuse pesticide will came up with a more profitable crop yield, they will continue to overuse and abuse the pesticide. So it's like they have two coins of the two sides of the coins regarding the knowledge and educations.
Yep, excellent answer. Very good. And with regard to the external influences, how strong was that influence of sellers to farmers' decision to apply pesticides?
A lot, honestly, a lot. Because most of the farmers, from the literatures, they live on farming. So there will be most of their incomes are from what they grow. So the crop yields and how they sell, how much they sell, there comes a lot. But surprisingly, that the quality which will be transferred into a price frame have not been ring alarm to the farmers. In other words, they get the sense that if the quality is good or better, we can get a better price, we can sell with a higher price, with a price prime. But it's not that 1 + 1 = 2 simple to them.
Okay, great. And that's a really good point. And listen, somebody had a question here just back about the farmer use of pesticides. Did you find any correlation between the safe use of pesticides by farmers and their education level?
Yes, absolutely. And by the education level, we mean the education level specified in pesticide control, not about the college and post-college. It's mostly like, have you ever been specific training for pesticide use provided by the government or provided by the external service like the NGOs or some local input suppliers? Yeah.
Excellent.
Positive.
Great.
Yeah, positive.
Okay, great. Excellent to have that feedback. And a question here, I think it's in this stepwise chart with the intermediate stage. I think here it mentions the potential use of subsidies to help farmers transition to alternatives. How important do you think this could be?
Honestly, I think this will be extremely maybe more important than the final advanced stage, because that's something helped to go through from the where you started to where you want to be. And this may be not a state point like this point we go to. It may be a period someone will go through a long time to make their efforts to invest in equipment, invest in training, invest in their knowledge, informations. There will be a time consuming and also money costly. I think there will be,
Great, excellent. One last question. Did you find, was there any literature or any feedback on the role of gender, like differences between male and female farmers and pesticide use in China?
Well, we found, but it is not that significant statistically. So there will be literature refer that, because most are men who do the pesticide application because of their some health risk. You need to wear a mask, carry some equipment on your backs. But we also have some literatures point out, because most of men went out of the village to go for a high-paid job in the city, and the women are the one who carry on all this farming back home. So yeah.
Okay, great. And actually, I'm going to ask you one more question, and it's around also this intermediate stage. We talked about subsidies, but what do you think is do you think it's important, that role of crop insurance schemes for transitioning to alternatives to pesticides?
I think that's how to say, and that's a terrific idea to bring the crop insurance into this part, because I don't think we have done a great job here so far. And the insurance can help the farmers to transfer the risk from themselves and to the insurance company. And so far, this part of work are done by the government, and I think we are putting too much pressure on them, because they are not how to say, they cannot do this forever, right? They are only here to help you to start, maybe get better, but there will be a day, there definitely be a day the government should stay back. To leave the market to do their work themselves. So I think there will be a time for insurance to take place of the government subsidy.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. And thank you for your presentation, for sharing that with us. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. And thank you from all of us. I'm sure there'll be questions that are coming through later